good in there now. So what we're going to do now, Rudy, is we'll wet the wheelbarrow, spray it with water, and we'll dump some in there and take it over and put it on the wall. Okay folks, we're ready to start this spreading this mud. Rudy, if you can wet my mud board for me. Now you always want to spray water on your mud board before you put the mud on there. It helps it stay, it didn't set up on the board very fast. And then you also want to spray the wall. So Rudy's going to spray the wall with water. Now the reason we do this is that when you got a bare block wall like this and you put this cement on there, it sucks up the moisture and it dries out so fast that you can't work it. So it's important to wet the wall before. Come around this corner a little bit, Rudy. There we go. And that's good. Now we'll kind of let that soak in just a few seconds there before we spread. Now Rudy, if you can go ahead and start putting some mud up on the board here, I'll be ready to go. Looks like pretty good mud. The key to being able to plaster and efficiently is to have the proper consistency of your mortar. If it's too wet, you can't pick it up, and if it's too hard, you can't spread it. So it's important to have your mud consistency just right, and this looks really good. So Rudy, if you'll take that and we'll start spreading mud. Now I haven't done any plastering in probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've done a stucco job. But I guess it's kind of like riding a bike, you never forget. So anyway, we're starting here because in this corner of this wall, and we're going to end up with a pole joint because we're going to end up starting at this portion to go all the way around the house and stop when we get back over here. This mud board's a little too far away, so I'm going to move it closer to me where I'm working. So here we go. Pick up the mud, and we're going to start right over here at the top. You always start at the top and work your way down. Just like that. This mud, it's got to go on pretty thick on this wall because this wall is very ununiform. There's a lot of bumps and high spots and low spots in this block wall, so we have to put it on pretty thick to cover all that stuff. So that's how it's done. You just pick it up, put it on the wall. Boom. This is a young man's game, and you always work in the shade out here in Arizona. Whenever you can find shade, that's where you work. Okay folks, now we're just about ready. As you can see, I've got quite a bit of mud on the wall. I haven't got quite finished. But when you're working off of a scaffold, you always bring the mud or the plaster down about waist height. And then that way you don't have to bend over so much. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this little area here, and we'll do the next phase of the operation, which is called darbying. And the darby is just a tool that smooths off the rough high spots like that. So let me put a couple more, spread a few more troughlfuls of mud on here, and we'll do the next stage, which is the darbying. This is the darby right here, this long tool. You always wet it. You always keep your tools wet. They clean up easier as you go. And then what you do is you start here at the bottom, and this will tell you where the high spots are and the low spots. As you can see, it's pretty even right in that area. Pretty good. Now you can go sideways this way, but the first pass you usually want to go up like this. Open the bottom. Now that right there is a low spot. You can see that. Can you zoom in on that? That's what they call a cat face. It's low. So what you do is you end up with a little bit of mud on your derby like that. Put it in that spot there, and you can fill it in. Now if you can't get it done that way, you can always pick up your tools and add a little bit more. A little bit more mud in that area. So this tool is what makes your wall flat and straight. There's a rock in there, Rudy. These kids, they found my sand pile and they've been playing in it at night after I go home. I ain't seen a kid yet that didn't like to play in a sand pile. Alright. That's pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of mud down here on this corner. Right here. Kind of low. Now we're not doing this wall because it wasn't in the bid. It wasn't in the scope of work. If I was to do the wall, I'd have to charge a little more. But I don't know, I might just give it to him later. So there's that. Now you always take your derby when it's wet like this and wash it off. That way it's not set up and hard next time you need it. It's ready to go. Just like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of mud around the corner. Right there. And I've got a tool for this corner. And I'm going to run that tool on here. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. If I can just freehand it, I will. Rock. Now I know that's not very pretty, but we'll make that look real nice. We got plenty of mud on it. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we are ready to move our scaffolds. Scaffolds moved, mudboard set. That's the kind of language we use in the plastering trade. So let's move these scaffolds now. Okay folks, now we're ready for the next step. As you can see, we've got this section in the front here plastered all the way down. And over here on the side, what we're going to start in with the float. This is called a green sponge float. What this does is it helps smooth out any imperfections. And this wall here is a little bit where we started, so the concrete or the cement or mortar is set up a little harder than it is down that way. But I'm just going to show you how we do it. I'll spray it with water a little bit. This helps. This helps a more uniform. Makes a more uniform floating job. And we start over here where we started. And we go in circles. Now, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's some little low spots here and there up in the top. Little high ridges and that sort of thing. And that's what this tool does. It kind of helps flatten those down. And it felt like it needed a little more water up the top. I'm going to put some more water up here at the top. Sometimes it dries out quicker when I'm near wood and stuff. Sucks the moisture out. Now I could get away with this wall being the way it is right now. What I did to it is I put a brush. Where's that brush? I got a big brush. It's kind of like this. And I ran the brush. It leaves little marks like a broom finish on it, cement. And I tried that on there, and it worked pretty good on this wall. But on this front, there's a little more detail, so we didn't get the wall near as flat as this. So I'm spraying it off, and I'm going to start floating again here. Oh crap. Pull up my corner down there. And this goes pretty fast. And like I said, you're kind of covering up little holes, high spots. A lot of guys dip this in a bucket of water because they don't have a hose, and that's how they get the moisture on the wall they need. Since I got the hose right here, that's why I'm doing it. Plus, this will roughen it up enough to where when we put the texture on, which will be in another video, it'll cling to the texture will cling to the wall a lot better. Take this float and it'll actually help straighten out this corner a little bit. Kind of a bump right in there. I'm floating and I'm pulling the bump over into the wall, see? And it spreads it out. That's all there is to it. So, if you want to do stucco, I'll show you how to do it. Go do it. Hi folks, James Albert here. Now it's the next day after we've applied the stucco on this wall. And it's very important in the curing process to wet the wall after it's set up hard enough. Now this was put on yesterday. It's been about 24 hours, so it's very hard right now. And it's actually, we sprayed it once already this morning, but I'm going to spray it with water again. Now what this does is that it causes, for every time, I don't know why it is, but every time you wet the cement and let it dry, it gets harder. You wet it, let it dry, it gets harder. So this is what they call wet curing it. And it just makes your stucco much stronger and better. So we just spray the wall, and the idea is, you see how the water is running down. It's really it causes it to penetrate. You can just spray it like that, and it doesn't penetrate. See the difference? It's soaked in really good here, and here it's not soaked in very well. So the idea is to really saturate the wall, and it will absorb the moisture, and it just makes it a better wall, cures the wall much better. See how the water, it kind of goes down in sheets. Now the old timers, they just take this off, take the spray nozzle off, there we go, take the spray nozzle off, and you can just irrigate it. I call it irrigating it because, and this is more efficient because you're not wasting water. It's not splattering, bouncing off the wall, and it's making a sheet of water run down. Much more efficient. Either way you want to do it, it's fine. This is probably the best way right here. Just make a sheet of water flow down the wall, just like that. So enjoy your stucco, folks.